There you go.
There
Nice.
we go. All right, thank you. Thanks, Michelle. That's good. So this is the section in the website just talks about the role of the committee. So some of this is we're talking about the role of the district public image committee. And then the second section, there's the role of the club public image committee. A lot of clubs have a public image chair or a public relations chair or somebody in the communications role, but they don't have a committee as such. So it depends on the size of the committee. I think it's helpful to have a couple of people who can work together. And we do have quite a vibrant public image committee working at the district level. And we're always looking for new members, people to provide input. So if you're interested in that, please let us know. So this is basically the outline that we have here. This is the document that I put in the chat. And just to let you know, also, you probably are aware, but we did win last year this certificate of achievement at the zone level. And that was basically the work of our previous chair, Al Lutchen, who got us started on kind of a new path in terms of building the public image for the district. I'm going to start walking you through now the public image area. Tell me if I'm rambling on a little bit too much, because that can happen. If you're, one of the things that we've done here is we've tried to set up our committee with each member having a particular area of expertise. So if you're looking for some assistance at your club level and you're looking for somebody to help you in a particular area, we can connect you with these people, or you can feel free to connect directly. You can always email our committee at publicimage@d7090.org, and we'll do our best to provide you with the help that you need.
One thing I wanted to say is, especially I hear from the clubs in my area, if they're smaller clubs, because there are a few chairs that are so vital to each and every club. I personally feel they're public image, foundation, and membership. Those seem to be kind of the three very key roles that even if you're a small club, whether it's a shared role with another smaller club, but those chair positions are quite key. We want to be, donating money to the foundation. We want to be applying for district grants, and we want to be getting our word out and concentrating. That helps us retain and gain members. So with the smaller clubs, if people are like, well, we just don't have enough members, come to us, and there's ways that we can get around that. And again, there are some clubs that are sharing roles. So there would be one public image person for maybe two smaller clubs with a small committee. And then that way people don't get bogged down.
That's a very good point. And in fact, I know that Area 1, they decided they would band together and do their public image side of things together. And it's been very successful in that area. And the other thing I think that to stress is that a public image chair is really a support to the president of the organization, so that they don't have to carry all the load of the communication side themselves. So, all right. So
we talk about letting the public know, for instance, for this, what we're engaging in tonight, some of our club members aren't aware that this is going on, and we all get emails, and we all get a lot of emails, and sometimes people don't open them, but that's where that public image chair and that committee is key, not only getting the word out to the public, but making sure each and every member is aware of what's going on within the club and within the district.
All right, so public image committee projects, this section or this page, right now, it's kind of the last Rotary year. We use this to kind of highlight some of the things that the Public Image Committee was involved in. And obviously, we'll be updating this as we approach the end of the current Rotary year. So it's just an information page or a piece for people to look back and see what kind of things that this committee was involved in. we have a page that we've kind of dedicated to providing shortcuts to social media. The top one there is just our social media accounts that the district has, the Rotaract social media, some resources that are out there that you may, as a public image chair, find useful, and then just different different links from the public image committee, things that we've been involved in, some sessions that have been recorded that you can go through and make use of. The next section is this is something that we've just launched recently, and it's called the Public Image Social Media Toolbox. Dave Barry was instrumental in kind of envisioning this and getting it set up. And it was kind of an interesting process. Dave Barry was very forthright in saying that he wasn't very active on social media, wanted to learn about it. So he was actually the perfect person to go and research these different types of social media, and to put together a toolbox with resources that are easy for a beginner to navigate, easy for somebody to pick up and implement in the club. So he starts with a description here, but at the bottom of the toolbox, we have tutorials on all of these things and how to set them up and use them for your club, from Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter. We recently added a section on QR codes because certain members or clubs were asking about that. And we have a documentary or a document here on basically social media security and how your members can protect themselves from cyber attack and scams on social media. So this has been a big undertaking for us this year. We're quite pleased with it, but we can also add new things, and we're going to continue to grow it. One of the things that we'd like to do, we have on our work plan, is infographics. We've had some people asking about, well, how do I do that? So we're looking to build also a tutorial on how to do that. Each of these sections, if you click on this, you can go into the actual sub page that has the detail of the how-to part of that particular section of the social media toolbox.
This is invaluable. When I say this a lot, when we're looking for new ways of doing things or trying to solidify some things that our practices, and we look to the Rotary International website, it's there at our fingertips. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. And so this toolbox on our on our public image social media toolbox page there's a lot of time, a lot of hours, a lot of energy that went into this. But again, it's right at your fingertips. You'll need to read and practice, but you're not creating it from scratch, which is, again, completely invaluable.
Good, thank you, Michelle. So the other thing that we have been requested about is how media release. So a lot of people aren't kind of born into or experienced in how to get a media release out or a press release out to their local media. And we've also put together recently this how-to guide for building a media release. So we have this section at the beginning here on copyright infringement, which is really important when you're building one. So there's some information there. One of the things about a media release is what you're really doing is you're telling a story about your club. And if you're sending a social media or a media release out, you should consider it important enough to post on your own website. Because often media will check there to see, well, I want some more information on this. I want to see what these folks are doing. If they go there and the media release that you expect them to put into their paper or on their website isn't even on your own website, right away, that's telling them something about how important it is to you. So you want to make sure that it's there. And you also want to drive traffic to your website so you can then share it out on your social media from your own website. So we also have here some resources, a template in Word format, a template for a media release, some samples just for you to refer to see what other people are doing. And going all the way back, Paul McAfee, back to 2005, the original document that we had on our website on how to write a press release. It's a very extensive document, and so I wanted to make sure that when we built this page, that we recognize how far back the work on public image has gone with the district.
In 2025, can we have a 20th anniversary for that?
We
Yes.
absolutely should do that, Paul. And it's funny you should mention that, because I think early on when I took over as chair of the committee, I think I had mentioned to you that would be great to build some kind of a history of public image in the district. So I haven't forgotten that. So maybe that would be the time, eh, Paul?
Maybe, I don't know. I think it's been 10 years since I've looked at it.
I think it's a great idea, Paul. It'd be a nice thing to get together in person and then blast it all over social media and the newspaper and
Absolutely.
make a fundraiser out of it.
Yeah. The next section, website and technology support. This was initially started as the main item was hybrid meetings. A couple of years ago when people were looking at, probably about a year ago, I guess, the first one was in September, we did a web talk on this. And so that's accessible there. A lot of people were asking, how do we do a hybrid meeting? Obviously, that's a developing kind of technology, and different people do it in different ways. But we did build this resource for people to be able to see, get some guidelines on or some ideas on how to do that. Website support. We're continuing to do the website refresh initiative ongoing support side of things. So if you were part of that process and you are needing some assistance, feel free to email our committee, and we will connect you with Melissa to get some additional input. And then, of course, we're talking again about the social media toolbox. It's just some additional links there to that. Public image. So this came up out of a particular club that had an issue with. It was really a scammer who was trying to get them to pay for an image that was posted on their website about 10 years ago. So we put together, based on that, just some guidance on that. And a lot of the guidance actually is sent out by Penny every time she does a request for the monthly newsletters. And so we've included that here, as well as some links to some different things where you can get images and stock items and that kind of thing.
Can I chime in on something, Dave?
Sure, absolutely.
Many years ago, probably around the time that I wrote that How to Write a Press Release, my website, my consulting website, had an image on it that we got from a free stock images website. Then we also got a letter from an attorney at Microsoft. I forget the name of the stock image company that they bought, but it turns out that image was in that Microsoft-owned stock image library. And then some free stock image website put it up online, and we used it, and they sued us, and I had to give them a couple $1,000s to get them off my back. And it really was a legitimate lawsuit. This was not a scammer. So I would just make sure that whoever we list as a free stock image source is a reliable free stock image source. And I would be cautious about getting images anyplace else,
right,
that you don't pay for, because you can get in trouble.
Very good point. And actually, Rotary International does have quite a good selection of stock images that you can use and feel pretty confident in using. So it's always a good place to go first.
We've previously shared that Facebook group, Rotary Club Members Public Image, and graphic designs. I can find it and share it in the chat too, which is very helpful. And again, not creating from scratch lots of images with Rotary, and even like, April was maternal and child health. May is, focusing on youth. It's just massive amounts of images and links for Rotary clubs to go to.
Yeah, and there are a number of different Facebook groups that are, or accounts that are run by Rotary members who are graphic artists. And quite often they will say, this is, it has that little credit to them in the bottom corner. And they're happy to let you use those images as well. So, all right. So public image, the last section is just a tribute to our website refresh initiative. And it was put up primarily just as a reference. We had other districts that were asking about it. 7080 district is running their own this year as well. So we put that up as a resource for others to see, and also for people to see in terms of what the kind of support that that our developer is providing for us going forward. So that's kind of a walkthrough of the website. I'm going to stop sharing the screen now. Maybe we'll just open it up to discussion. And I'm just going to open the chat so I can see if there were any questions. So yeah, we're just going to open up to discussion. Any ideas, anything that any of you have, any requests that you would have of our district committee in terms of things, resources that we could provide you with, please share them. And we'll just open it up.
I have a question. So some of your faces, other than Paul's, actually are new to me, coming to one of our sessions or trainings. Dave and I we've been doing this for a while now. It seems like a long while, but it hasn't been quite that long. Certainly not as long as Paul's been around doing this. But what drew you to this workshop, this session tonight, and not the others?
Well, I have been a member of Rotary for 49 years, and I picked this because I keep complaining that we don't pat ourselves on the back enough, at least in our club.
Mm-hmm.
We do an awful lot of good in our community, and we just seem to do it, and just don't think that I don't think we get enough recognition for it. This is pretty tough to say, but our little club in Batavia, for example, we've given over $500,000 to our hospital in the last 5 or 6 years. And we're going to give them another $150,000. And I don't think anybody even knows about that. I mean, 1 year we gave out $250,000 to stuff, and we just don't take enough credit for it. And a lot of it goes like to the YMCA, the YWCA, Salvation Army, hospital, and big things like that. But during the pandemic, we bought $20,000 worth of food for people, and we paid rent for people who couldn't pay rent.
Wow.
We gave money to people who couldn't afford to get their cars fixed. We do a lot, and we never publicize it, and we don't take credit for the good things that we do.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, Ed. I think and a lot of clubs are like that. I know ours was as well. In Font Hill, I think a lot of people in the community had no idea. Having this focus has really helped us to connect with other service clubs, to give them credit. And for instance, you mentioned I think the YWCA, that you connect with them. Most of these organizations, these community organizations, have social media accounts, and you can actually, by publicizing what you're doing with them, help them to raise funds in the community. So it's kind of a mutual cooperation in terms of doing good work in the community and sharing that with others. If you can from time to time, publish a media release and get that out to the media in your area. And then the thing that I find is that anytime that I'm doing something like that, it's the perfect candidate for the newsletter. I don't have to write a new article. I just send Penny the one that we've already sent out.
And I don't even know if we get it out to the district. I've told people in district about things that we've done, but when I see the monthly letters, I rarely see anything about Batavia in there. We work hard at these things, and we've done a lot of good in the community.
Are you making submissions to the newsletter, Ed?
I believe we have. When I was the chair of certain things, I had a couple people I would ask to write articles and send them in. I may not have followed them closely enough to see if they got to where they were supposed to go, but I always had somebody write something up to explain to them what we've done.
Good. That's
One
good.
thing that we can do too, and it just always reminds me, for those of you who are familiar with the United Way, when the United Way gives organizations and agencies, non-for-profits, grant money, there's actually a physical contract that the agency has to sign off on and say that we will list the United Way as our sponsor. You know, we are a United Way agency. Our club donated $10,000 for a new hospice house in Chautauqua County, and we didn't even have to promote that at all. The hospice, public relations chair came to our club with a big blank sign that they were able to superimpose the word, like a check on it with a big heart. And we took a picture and it was posted in the newspaper on their website. So the hospital, when you're donating that much money to the hospital and a few times, not just once, having a sit down with the executives and say, we would like this to be promoted, and the hospital, in their interest, working with community organizations, would embrace that, I'm sure.
And I'm kind of too old for this Facebook and stuff like that. I really don't understand any of it, but I do see that Paul Marchese from our club is your technical advisor.
Yes.
That's good.
Yes,
He certainly is capable.
absolutely. He's very good
Yes.
to have on that committee, for sure. Any other comments or questions?
How about you, John and Jeff? What drew you to this session tonight?
Oh, I thought I was
Would you like to
muted.
go? Yeah, John, go ahead, sir.
Oh, well, I'm relatively new to Rotary. My wife and I joined probably 6 months ago, the Grand Island group. And, it's just, it sort of has this feeling where I don't want to say one person, because the group has been together for a long time, but it seems like there's just like this little nucleus that sort of does everything. So I'm really just trying to help Sherry take some of the stuff off of Sherry's plate. My background is radio, television, social media, stuff like that. So this sort of stuff naturally I'm interested in, and I know enough about it to be dangerous so that I can help. So she asked if I could attend tonight. To be perfectly honest, Rotary is my wife's initiative, and I just say I'm here to do heavy lifting. I don't like doing like a lot of detail work or phone calls, but for example, we just did a project where we moved in. We set up an apartment for an Afghan family. Well, my wife spearheaded that, made all the phone calls. We went out, we bought furniture, this and the other thing. I was the guy who went out and moved dressers and this and that, the other thing. I'm happy to do all that sort of stuff. So, with something like this, like I said, I know enough about it where I can be helpful, but still sort of, not feel like I'm getting overwhelmed because, not to get into, details, but I have an elderly father that I look after besides, working full-time, family and a few other things. So I want to contribute, but it's just, I got to sort of like just use my time wisely, I guess, for lack of a better expression.
Well, one of the things to keep in mind, John, is if you are going to be picking up some of the social media side of things for your club,
Mhm.
if you're trying to publicize an event that you have upcoming, or you've got some photos that you've posted to your social media of an event that you've been part of, if you if you let us know about that, then we'll share it out. It's impossible for us to kind of follow, all 66 clubs' social media.
Sure.
But if there's something specific that's gone on and you want us to kind of plug it, we're happy to do that for sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you, and congratulations for being a new Rotarian and already jumping on a district site.
Yeah, you know what? It's
That's
like I tell
nice.
you, it was kind of a slow start, but I think that Afghan project sort of like, I don't know, for me at least, maybe opened my eyes and made me realize, that this is going to be a lot of fun just to, take advantage of each opportunity and do as much as you can for each opportunity. And the funny thing is, through my wife and I joining, not to pat ourselves on the back or anything, but we've brought a little bit of like newer, younger blood to the group. So since we joined, I think now 2 other couples have joined. So, maybe a little bit of a transition is starting to take place, because when we first got there, I looked at my wife and I was kind of like, wow, we're like the youngest people here, and we're both like close to 60. So I was like, we got some work to do.
That's great. And the more you get, the information out about your club in the community, you'll get people. We've had 2 people in the last couple of months. And our club kind of is in the situation where we gain members, we lose a couple of members. That's kind of a normal kind of transition. So retention is something that we're addressing. But in terms of attracting new members, quite often it's just that they hear about us in the community. They read something.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of funny, not to interrupt, but when we joined, and then Sherry, and I talked a few times, had a couple of Zoom meetings about, the social media side of things, because I said, I know a little bit about that. I can certainly help or whatever. So, she linked me up to the page, and, so I just started, if she put something out, I shared it on my personal page. And then next thing you know, I got people saying, hey, I want to get involved with a service project. Tell me more about this Rotary thing. And we did the bell ringing, I think last Christmas, so that, or 2 Christmases ago. And then we did it again this past Christmas. And that, again, it's just, you're out there saying you're doing something in the community for Rotary Club. And, most people are like, oh, wow, that's really great. But you'll get a handful of like, hey, that's pretty cool. How do we get involved? So it's starting to snowball a little bit.
That's awesome.
That's great.
Good for you. Good for you.
Jeff, you were about to share something too, so go ahead.
Yeah, sure. Well, hey, good evening, everybody, and John, welcome. Yes,
thank you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I've been a Rotarian, I think now probably for 7 years or so. So Ed, quite a few years less than you, sir. So congratulations for 49 years. I was fortunate, I think in my 2nd or 3rd year, I switched places with a president-elect. So I was president really early in my Rotary career, and was, of course, thrown into an awful lot that I didn't know a lot about. But so I'm in the Rotary Club of Waterdown, so just outside Hamilton or Toronto kind of area. And what's interesting, the reason I came is that I've been public image chair for probably, this is 2nd or 3rd term, and we're fortunate in that we run a really large Rib Fest every summer.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate because one of our mandates of the committee, and I'm on the Rib Fest committee, is to promote our clubs. So part of our, our public image is kind of riding the coattail of Rib Fest, because we've got signs, we've got people, we've got shirts, we've got branding. Like, we've got a lot of things that we try to remind the community, like, hey, Rotary's putting this on. And there's 15 people on the committee. We got 400 volunteers, 50,000 people come. Like, good for us. Like, John, to your point, a little bit about, back patting, because it's a great event. So I'm here because I love the website sort of suggestions and ideas. One thing that we work really closely with community service. And one thing we determined that our club didn't have a John for social media. So we've actually hired a high school student. So that high school student is we're going to pay them, every quarter based on the results. We're not going to pay them in advance, but we're going to pay them in arrears for a lot of our social media. So probably because of COVID, we're not as organized in terms of our calendar of events, getting out front of them, publicizing them, getting the fundraising groups together, like really having that plan for the year. So community service, myself, the fundraising teams, the president-elect, we work really well because we're a small club, but we're really trying to put a plan together to get the word out, to get the word in, because some of our members don't know what we're up to, what we're doing. So to me, the public image is both external and internal. So these tips and tricks and just leveraging, Dave, your work, Michelle, your work, there's a lot there that we have been taking advantage of. So I'm just trying to do a little bit more or a lot more of that per se.
That's awesome. Great stuff.
So yeah, happy to be here. Really
Good.
happy to be here.
It's an interesting thing about the public image role, communications in general is a lot of the kind of executive positions in clubs and in the district are kind of, okay, so you become the secretary and maybe then you become, president-elect, and then you become the president, then you're the past president. You kind of go transition through these roles. People who love communications and love working on public image, they tend to be around for a long time doing that and learning from each other. I find that really exciting. I don't want to be the chair of this committee forever. I want somebody else to come up, but I hope I can be a member of it. Is to see Paul here, who was the public image chair for the district in 2005. He's the public image chair of Lockport. So like it's kind of part of who you are as a person, right? So I was trying to say early on when we were trying to get more clubs to designate a public image chair, every Rotary club has a storyteller in their ranks. And really that's the job of the public image chair. You want the person who knows how to tell a good story to get the news out there. And then it's about providing structure to that and a routine to making sure that you get that information out. So Paul, I'd love to hear about your perspective on public image and how it's kind of evolved since you were the chair of the district.
I don't have a big story to tell, but I'd like to say I think the work that you guys are doing is amazing. You're far more organized than I was. My focus in the time that I was doing it was I got $60,000 in grants from Rotary International.
Wow.
That we matched in the district to build awareness through Facebook pages, and clubs volunteered to participate. I managed the activity, I managed the targeting, the demographic targeting and so forth. And we took many clubs from under 100 people who were had liked and followed their pages to over 1,000. But it was more of a one-person operation, and I didn't go anywhere near where you guys went and providing all the resources. And of course, when we did training, I had to drag myself up to Canada or Niagara Falls and get in a room with 35 people. And that's where that piece that you uploaded came from, and give a presentation and talk about it. But anyway, you guys are doing a great job. So I just want to compliment you for that.
Appreciate that, Paul. It's good to have that legacy for sure.
Yeah,
Michelle?
I love hearing the backgrounds and the stories, and we have seasoned long-term Rotarians and new Rotarians, and you're already working on projects. You caught the bug. It's in your blood now. It's probably never going away.
Yeah,
thankfully, right? Is when you meet with your clubs and your committees and things like that, keep in mind if there's anything that we can do more for you, or if you have suggestions or ideas, please don't hesitate to bring them to us. It's a great, this public image committee is, you know, biasly so, one of the best in our district. We don't overburden people on the committee. We have assignments. There's a task sheet. We used to meet every week. Now we meet every 2 weeks. People work on projects. They come back to the next meeting. Meetings only last a half hour. So, you know, if you have anybody in your club, like Dave said before too, we're definitely looking for some newcomers. He doesn't want to do this for the next 10 years. And so it's a great committee. As AG, I've heard people say I'm too involved in my club. I can't take on that leadership role within the district. District roles enhance your club experience and your club commitment and energy times 10. And I'll say it, I've said it 100 times, I'll continue to say it. When I became active at the district level, it rejuvenated Rotary abundantly for me and continues to do that. You know, Cinco de Mayo, and here we are, you know, on a Zoom talking about public image. I wouldn't trade it, you know. So again, whatever we can do for you, send us some people from your way to our committee, and we'll just continue to make this district even stronger.
Absolutely.
If you, the rest of you, especially the newcomers, if you didn't watch the chat, Debbie Vance is a Rotarian. I met her. I don't think she's in our district. I've traveled. I was a co-founder of our first e-club, and then I traveled to some other e-clubs to see what they were like, a motorcycling Rotarian e-club. And somewhere along the line, I ran into her, and I put her Facebook page up, and I put up one example. You can't see the picture unless you download it, but she makes amazing graphics.
She does.
She tends to do themed graphics based upon what's going on. She puts her watermark on each graphic. I always attribute the graphics to her when I share them. But if you're looking for some really dynamic images, you should spend some time on her page. And you can always right-click an image if you're using a computer, download it, and then you can use that on your own club's page if you want.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that one up, Paul, because I think I'm going to definitely add that to our social media links as a resource. There are a number of them there, that the different groups that are there, but definitely she's a great resource, and some of her stuff is amazing, and she shares it freely, so it's easy to kind of make use of, for sure. All right. So we are not tied to a particular time frame. I personally like to keep meetings quick and to the point and let people get on with their lives. So so I'm happy to kind of wind things up if there's anything that anybody wants to discuss, kind of as a closing topic, bring it up now. And again, we will be holding these kind of chats. There's actually, we did recently have kind of an open discussion session, and it's posted in our area as well. It's also posted on if you're on the website, there's a web talks area. So there's a link there to that one. That was a session that we held recently just to consult with people about where the committee's going and how we can help people. So you may want to review that as well.
Yeah, just about every single Zoom interactive meeting that the district has is recorded and then always available on our website. So again, not starting from scratch, it's right at our fingertips. Someone mentioned something earlier tonight, and I jotted it down because I'll go and research that again. I had honestly forgotten about it. So all good things.
Yeah, Dave, Michelle, maybe one comment is that I think we're similar to a lot of clubs in that our average age is going up and up and up. And our numbers are kind of coming down. So we're trying our best to backfill. So we, well, there's probably 12 to 15 people that are sort of the active people in our club. The rest have done a lot of good time, done a lot of good service. And it's really a social club for them, which is amazing, right? But I think for every single committee that we've got on our club, the critical success factor for us is just getting a couple more members every couple months, or getting those people. So part of what we're trying to do is create some corporate memberships or bring some new people in. And of course, the last couple of years have been terrible to try to bring people on Zoom and get them interested, because
For sure.
the last thing people want to do is sit on another Zoom to look at people remotely, whatever. But we have been successful, and I think we're lucky because we've got that RevFest, which is just an amazing event. But people come out and say, "Wow, like you folks do this. Like, how do you put it together?" And we say, "Well, it's a year-long thing. It's a lot of fun. Join us and find out. Like, if you like that event or you want to contribute." So anyway, I guess my point is that membership for us is critical for success for these kind of committees, for us to be able to do more and then effectively do more. So we're on that bandwagon. We're trying to increase and grab the right people, right? Like, we're not trying to recruit everybody. We're trying to recruit the people that would like to be a part of Rotary.
So are you, I think one of the things that we've done with our club is to change some of the meeting formats. That we were pretty, standard. Every Wednesday morning it was a breakfast club, and that's what we did 4 weeks a year, right? So, or a month, every month, every week. So we've tried to kind of branch out and do something different, have a social event or a community project that we'd be doing at least once a month. So that kind of gives, especially people who just really aren't into meetings, and quite often the younger people, they're not into coming out early to a breakfast meeting, but they do love doing things in the community. So you can really branch out that way too, and I think other clubs are doing that also.
Just as a point of interest, our club, we probably have 70 members recorded. I don't know exactly how many, but we have about 30 or 35 who show up at every meeting. And your other clubs, like Michelle, how big is your club and how many show up?
It seems to be like 50% is kind of a number, right? Like we've got about 35, 34 members at a time, and it goes up and it goes down. But about half of those people are really active, and other people, they do other things when their thing comes up.
Yeah,
and
it seems that when we have a project, everybody shows up.
Yeah.
But trying to get them at every meeting is pretty tough.
Just, I wanted to share
Seems to be the
quickly.
challenge everybody's having.
I found this to be a really nice thing to have handy too. I have business cards made up with Rotary, and then of course my contact information, and I teach overseas. I'll be teaching in Singapore this fall. There are 21 Rotary clubs in Singapore. I managed 1 year to get to 7 of them, but it's nice to have something like this with non-Rotarians to talk to them and give this to them. And it's sort of, when they pick it up, it reminds them. And if you're randomly employed like I am in my retirement, teaching for whoever will have me, there's no point using a business card from one of the universities. I just use this.
Oh, that's awesome.
And they're not expensive. I use Vistaprint, and I get them in a week, and they're cheap.
And you
That's
could
a
put a
great
barcode.
idea.
You could put a barcode on the back of that now too, eh?
I suppose. And by the way, I just use the template that Rotary International has to create the front of the card, and I put my contact on the back.
Right. Okay. So I think we'll wrap things up now, unless anybody has anything further to say. And we'll hope to see you guys out on see you folks out in future meetings and also on Saturday morning.
Yeah, another one
Michelle,
coming up.
Thank you for hosting this. This is really appreciated. Goes a long way. Sincerely appreciate your efforts. Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate you joining.
Thank you all for being here. And like I said, it's good to see some new faces too. That was exciting awesome for the night. Thank you.
Great.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good to meet
night.
you, folks. Good night. Thank you.